Today, I'm very excited about our comic book and absolutely gutted by its live-action adaptation. Today's comic is a personal favorite of mine. It's interesting and original and clever and perfectly rendered by the artist. It's written by one of my favorite writers of all time, and it has one of the worst adaptations we've ever looked at on this channel. Today, we're looking at Whiteout. So where do we start? Whiteout is the creation of Greg Rucka and Steve Lieber. Published by Oni Press, it was originally a 4-issue miniseries in black and white, now collected into a trade paperback. The tone and mood is like a Michael Crichton science fiction thriller. We're in Antarctica, should I say science thriller? We're in Antarctica, one of the most dangerous environments on Earth, trying to solve a murder. A body is found on the ice with its face missing, and our main character, Marshall Carrie Stetko, is on the case. Everybody is about to leave the ice for the winter, and she needs to find the killer in 2 days. The problem for her is that the entire base is hostile. The weather, of course, but also her boss, who yells at her over the phone saying she's a screw-up, cost her partner her life. The other men on the base are degenerate pigs making comments about how she's frigid and also gay. In this environment, she has to be tough and smart and take no nonsense, and the book delivers all of that. Now, although it's not explicitly stated, her rival, or the second lead, is a female agent, and there's also this great tension there between the two of them. There's a sense that she's an equal to ally with, or to spar with. Carrie is every bit the battle-hardened noir-styled gumshoe, just put in another setting. The story's a whodunit and evokes imagery in my mind of John Carpenter's The Thing. The parkas and frozen locale make that a no-brainer. But the isolation and lethal exteriors make these kinds of stories heightened and concentrated. Plus, it just looks cool as a canvas for your story. That visual artistry is brought to us by veteran comic artist and just super nice guy Steve Lieber. Just one of the nicest guys. I had a chance to meet him at a comic convention years ago, and even the good fortune to buy a few pages of his artwork. This was years and years after the book and the movie had come out, and I was lucky he even had any pages left. You can see here, but it's pretty cool. I specifically wanted a page that had snow, so we can see the techniques he used with the paint flecking, maybe with a toothbrush. I probably should have asked him, or maybe he told me and I forgot. You can kind of see some of it down here. I'll try and put it up on screen so you're not just looking at me holding this page like way at a distance. Or check this out. In 2020, in February, only weeks before, the insanity, Steve was working on Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen for DC, and to help promote it, they sent out postcards to all the shops. I got one. You can see it's got Steve's art printed on one side. There we go. And then a handwritten letter on the back. This way. With a sketch. With a sketch. I mean, come on. I'm keeping this forever. I know it's not personally to me, even though it does say everyone at Metropolis, which is me. But he really didn't have to go so far, He could have just written a generic template and had it printed, same with the sketch, but this is personalized to our shop. And you can see the pencil sketch under the inks too, which is really cool, like that. Maybe I'll try and put that one up on screen, but yeah, that's just, it's the extra attention to detail. I had a shop for 15 years, and this is pretty rare. I once had a creator call the shop on the phone, and he was calling all the shops, and I really respect that extra mile that they're willing to go. It's a hard industry and times are not easy. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Not sure when I'd have another reason to talk about it. I put this in my office all the time. It's really cool. Lieber has worked all over the industry, done tons of books. Some highlights include Detective Comics, Hawkman, and Grendel, or Gotham Central, one of my favorite books, which was also written by Greg Rucka. Steve only did a few issues here and there, but I happened to buy one of those original pages too. Say hello to Crispus Allen and Renee Montoya. Huh? Yeah? It's so cool. I love it. There's just something perfect about his rendering. The little details, the wires, the post-its up everywhere, the bits of things that are stuck in the corners of the frame, filling out the world to an exacting degree. And of course, the flourish of the book's identity, the whiteout. Like literally whiteout on a page. The snow becomes like the ink in Frank Miller's Sin City. It becomes part of the character of the book, whether it's a paintbrush dragged across the page or flecks of white paint sprayed across the page. It's a wonderful effect. And married with the duotone, or half-tone textures cut into the shadows, the book has a distinct and detailed look. These duotones can certainly be accomplished with computers these days, but much like you might see in old TMNT comics, these ones were done by hand. Just recently, a short film on the making of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen was released on YouTube, and in it, Steve Lieber talks about learning to adjust his style, to draw for jokes and humor, and how being funny required a different sensibility, which is a cleaner and more simplistic, maybe less rendered style. But in doing so, he also describes the style of his previous work, not specifically referencing Whiteout, more his earlier work in general, but Whiteout is one of those books, and I just wanted to share his own words.
I was working more like an illustrator than a cartoonist, not nearly as much shorthand as a cartoonist uses, a lot less symbolic drawing, much more literal drawing, lots and lots of texture and environmental detail and carefully rendered lighting, just trying to make very impressive pen and ink drawings, panel after panel. And what I realized is that if I even attempted that, it killed the jokes. It just made them not funny. It made the picture of light washing over a human head instead of the punchline of a joke. I had trouble stopping myself from applying these abilities that I had.
Greg Rucka is his partner in crime here, and I don't think I need to laud a name like Rucka in the comics world. He is simply a preeminent talent of our industry and a wizard with words and a master of the crime noir genre and sensibilities known throughout his impressive body of work for writing incredibly strong female characters. He's a favorite of mine personally. His work includes everything from Wonder Woman, Batwoman, DC's 52, The Question, Wolverine, Elektra, or his creator-owned titles like Stumptown. I should probably do a graphic adaptation video on Stumptown. Leave me a comment if you want a video on Stumptown, or what else has he done? The Old Guard, Lazarus, Black Magic. I think some of it's behind me here somewhere. Yeah, it's out of frame. Stumptown's up there. Now, because we're talking about Whiteout, I would make my suggestion for anyone who already likes Whiteout and who is looking for more in this vein, and to match more of the tone and aesthetic quality, I would suggest looking at Queen and Country. It's a limited series of books about MI5 agents doing more grounded, realistic espionage, like the show MI5, or Spooks, as it was known. It also features a strong female protagonist, and the quality of the book is very high. The last thing I will say about Whiteout the comic is that it was published by Oni Press, who is a small independent publisher. They print Scott Pilgrim and Rick and Morty, the post-apocalyptic wasteland, but they're a small publisher, so feel free to support them and buy a book. We need more indie publishers like Oni. Okay, let's look at the live-action adaptation of Whiteout. The movie came out in 2009, and it's just so bad. It's so bad. And there is just too much to say, but let me point out some of the most glaring failures. First off, I don't want to say that Kate Beckinsale is a bad actor or that she wasn't right for the movie, but the movie Stetco is too pretty, displays very little agency, is always crying and vulnerable, and in her first scene that we see her, she walks into the room and then strips down to have a shower, including an inexplicable shot where she just bends over in front of the camera. Nothing motivates this. It denigrates our lead before we even meet her. It eats up screen time where you're already bored within the first 5 minutes. They also get rid of the other female lead with the most generic pretty boy who feels it necessary to fix her, literally asking, "What's wrong with you?"
What happened to you, Carrie? Why are you down here? Really?
It's just also disappointing and typical. There's no chemistry, and the amount of exposition on tap is exhausting. Speaking of which, there's an opening scene in the movie where a plane goes down. It's not in the book at all because, of course, they also changed a lot of the plot. Never a good sign. That scene had to cost millions to film with special effects and all, and it's supposed to set up the MacGuffin in the film, the thing that people are after, the treasure. Except in this case, it's baffling to me why nobody thought the mystery would be more compelling without this scene explaining it for us, especially at a time in the film where it means nothing to us. So later on, when Carrie's putting together the pieces, we're often ahead of her as the audience, and that's just not satisfying to watch your hero catch up to the viewer. I think finding a body in the snow or a plane under the ice is more interesting when we didn't already see it crash and the people on board. It just kind of, I don't know, it just takes some of the mystery away. And I would also mention that there are some other scenes that were filmed, like flashback scenes to her past, rather than inferring so we can imagine on our own. Or when someone falls out of a window and down onto the street, it's a painful special effect to watch, sterile and unrealistic. But the question that I would ask is, why? Why make a big opening action sequence in a movie set in a small claustrophobic setting that functions as a whodunit? Why film the flashbacks at all? Why make her quarters seem sleek and the map of their ops room one of those glass transparent jobs that's all lit up and like stylized and fresh and futuristic? I mean, I think the movie should have felt less polished and more raw, less big set pieces and more work on character and dialogue. I would have loved to have seen it done in black and white like the comic, a more personal story where you can connect with Carrie as a person. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing what a black and white version of the film would look like, something that's more close to what the original series was, cutting out a bunch of this superfluous stuff that I'm talking about, I set up a little something for you to watch on Patreon. There's a link in this video description to my Patreon. It's free. All my content on Patreon is free. And so this is a cool little project that I posted there for all of you. Please join the community. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment under that video. It was a lot of fun to make. I hope you enjoy it. Now, the comic has a running monologue for Carrie that's filled with historic and factual information about life in Antarctica, things to fear, context to help understand the unique climate, and it all serves to flesh out this world and its rules. The movie chose not to do an internal monologue, and so any of that stuff is going to be painfully blunt exposition or little text factoids on the screen just at the start, and it isn't particularly effective in the way that the book is. I mean, this movie is such Hollywood trash. The station is portrayed as a sexy frat party, diminishing the threat of the deadly environment that they're in, as we see sophomore streakers in the opening scene. Carrie uses a flashlight in the medical bay when she should have just turned on a light switch. There's a part where they show a coffee mug shattering on the ground and the liquid freezing instantly from the cold. But then they let Kate Beckinsale run around in the snow without ever covering her nose or her mouth. So it's corny and limp-wristed and boring as fuck. The director Dominic Sena claims to have been a big fan of the book and practically begged for the job, so I have no idea how it turned out like this. Greg Rucka has publicly stated that this isn't the character he wrote. The screenplay swapped hands a few times before we got whatever this is. But it filmed in Canada, which is kind of sad, because even their CG snow blowing around feels inauthentic. So the movie is a financial and critical bomb, and for good reasons, plural. But it's not the end of this video, because for us at least, the book had a sequel, and I didn't mention it until now because the movie's sad, and I didn't really want to end on a sad note. So the second volume, if I could get it here. So the second volume is called Whiteout Melt. And it's blue, red, blue. And for the most part, it's more of everything you loved in the first book, with the exception being the whodunit mystery that is now a more straightforward action thriller in the vein of a Die Hard or Broken Arrow. A group of mercenaries take to the ice to steal nuclear weapons-grade material, and it's up to Carrie Stetko and another agent to stop the men. The book is again filled with lots of history and facts about Antarctica, which is as much of an important character as Carrie herself in the series. I always felt that Whiteout should be a trilogy. Like, I always thought that there was a third Ghostbusters movie. Not these new ones, but like a legit old one. Like a Phantom Limb for some reason. I remember for years I was like just assuming, and then I had a conversation with somebody one day and they were like, there's no Ghostbusters 3. And I was like, is there really not a Ghostbusters 3? Well, there should have been a Ghostbusters 3. Unfortunately, To date, there hasn't been a third book for Whiteout, but I have a little treat here at the end for you, a sort of like a little side quest that can give us a pseudo-sequel in a way. Steve Lieber made a 5-issue miniseries at Image Comics called Underground, written by Jeff Parker. Got one of those too. Underground. Okay? This is a story... a little dog hair on it. This is a story about a female park ranger who gets trapped in a large underground cave system with her partner, pursued by nefarious men, and has to traverse this deadly environment. So it's another smart female agent as our main character, another extreme natural location on Earth that requires rules and knowledge about its dangers. We're learning about it as readers as we go. And while snow and the white in Whiteout is a character or texture or visual theme in those books, in Underground, Lieber is using inky black spaces and shadows to do the same in the opposite direction. And in those ways, I think this is like a pseudo-sequel or a cheating way of getting a spiritual third entry to a Whiteout trilogy. If it was written by Rucka, it could have just been called Blackout. I also got a page of that. I swear, these were not expensive. This dude was like, it was like 30 to 50 bucks a page or something, maybe 60. Like, it was under 100 bucks per page. I was blown away. And so yeah, I got 3, and it's just really cool. Signed them at the bottom. Oh, that's going to be a reflection. But anyway, very cool stuff. Anyway, there it is. Whiteout, great books, the less than great movie, and a little extracurricular suggestion if you're looking for more to read. Thank you all for watching. Click the subscribe button to get more content like this. And remember the Patreon. If you want to check out a edited fan version, black and white, of Whiteout closer to what the original comic was, it's free. You just got to go click on the buttons. I'll see you guys next week.